That was one of the points where I was actually waking up. It's kind of foggy still, but I remember sitting in laying in the bed, and it was I think one of the doctors came up to me. My parents were there, and he asked if I wanted to go through and try to save my leg, but he told me the consequences of it as well, and it was a pretty clear choice to me and my parents that amputation was probably the best choice. I was 14, and I got in a car accident with my brother and my cousin. We were heading to school that morning, and we hit this weird curve, and my brother hit like an ice patch, and then we went off the road, and then we hit a tree, and the tree ended up on the passenger side where I was sitting, so it was kind of like right here where my leg's at, and so it's, that kind of proceeded to the point. We tried saving the leg for a little bit, but then we had to amputate it after a while because I didn't want to deal with the surgeries and infections and stuff like that. So, but luckily, thank the Lord, all of us survived. So for what it could have been, we were pretty fortunate with how it ended. You never really comprehend what it's like. You don't really, a normal person doesn't really think oh, what's a fake leg like, And to be going through it, and they give you some reference of what's going to happen. And it's kind of a simple process, but it was still pretty weird. It was just a totally new world, and it opened my eyes a little bit. I was kind of like one of the shy kid that liked to stay home and play video games and stuff like that. That was my thing. I never did sports before. I kind of just jumped into a Paralympic event, kind of just off recommendation from the place where I was getting my legs. Each little detail of your disability changes your classification. So I'm a single below the knee amputee, and that puts me in a class of 44. I have a couple teammates, and they range around the whole entire, the broad spectrum of the classification system. So first you get classified, and then you make the standards for your event, and the standards are set off of world records and how many people are close to it or whatever. And if you make the right standards, then you'll be able to get on teams and stuff like that. And if you make the right standards for the Paralympics, then you'll have a good chance of going.
I think Eric could be very much one of those Paralympians. He could be number 1, or he could be number 2 in the world, or he could be number 1 and number 2 in the nation. Max Roan, his teammate, will probably be the other one. So I'm not saying who's going to get it, but I do say let's let both of them push each other. And if they can push each other to the top of the world, that'll be a very exciting thing.
Amputees are pretty good at adapting, but you might not put the same weight numbers up as someone with 2 legs. You might not be as fast, but there's some guys that are amputees that are incredibly fast. But you might not jump as far, you might not jump high, but you're still jumping. There's no limits, really. You can try, you can do anything, really. It's just, there's just a piece of you that doesn't move, but it's still, they put a piece there for you, and you can, if you really put your mind to it, then you can do anything that you want. I've been an amputee for 8 years, so that's almost half my life at this point. So it's normal. It's completely normal now. And especially knowing that I can do anything that I try or anything I want to do, I can put the same amount of effort as anybody else could into it. Yeah, it doesn't faze me too much anymore.
They inspire me because they work hard, they don't complain, and they definitely want to be the best that they can be. And that's all a coach ever expects. If your athlete wants to be the best they can be and do what it takes to be the best they can be, it's fun.
When I have the opportunity to meet an amputee, and normally it's just amputees that are looking to do sports or something like that, or even brand new ones, I'll definitely talk to them. And I try to give them inspiration and put a positive influence on them as well.
I expect every one of these athletes, they're going to go and give back. And that's what makes me proud. That's what inspires me every day, that I know they will give more, and they've had to deal with more.
I try to devote a lot of what I do to glorify God in some way, because He gave me all these abilities, and I believe He really led me to this point, and that's kind of what motivates me to do this, is I feel this is where He wants me to be at this time. I think there's some things I can do in the future that are different from sports, but at this point I believe this is where He wants me to be.